All right, so that's good. Go back to Chrome. And I'm not gonna sign in today for a reason. Okay, so several things. I brought along my trusty tripod. Nothing to it. How many people have a tripod? Okay, very good. The rest of you do not have a tripod? No? Okay. It comes in very handy because if you want to take pictures, in different type of situations, a tripod would be helpful. For one thing, if you want to take pictures, at night and you want to capture like the city light and stuff like that, you need long exposure. Having a tripod really helps. Otherwise the light would look like a blur, like a line, squiggly line. Having a tripod, really helps to stabilize, and you can have very nice pictures. The other thing I find the tripod to be very useful for is for taking pictures of stuff that I want to sell, through eBay or Craigslist and stuff like that. Because a lot of times, indoor, you don't have enough light, to take pictures without, motion blur. So what I do is I use my tripod to set up so I can have long exposure. Long exposure means you're exposing for a fraction of a second, maybe a fourth of a second or so, which is too long for handheld photography, but with a tripod it's easy to do it. So I think it's nice to have a tripod. For those of you who have to take video footages of your kids, having a 2-hour performance, hand holding the camcorder for 2 hours is not a practical solution. A tripod really helps because you just set it up, make sure it doesn't block any view from people behind you, and you just press a button and let it go. Yep.
Are there any ways you can rent one of those?
Sorry?
Rent one instead of buy one?
You can rent one.
I mean, just a tripod.
I have not. You can probably rent very expensive tripods, but the inexpensive ones, I don't think people do rental for tripods. In terms of pricing for a tripod, this one is really nice because it has all metallic parts. A lot of the newer ones, I'm sorry about the clinking sound because it's the key for the quick release, hitting the tripod itself. But this one has all metallic construction, and it also has a 4-section leg, so you can see, when it's fully extended, it's actually not too bad. I mean, compared to its original height, when it's fully extended, it's not bad. I can show you, some of the other features of this one too. It's a good investment. The tripod is a good investment if you want to use a lot of multimedia content. This will come in handy at some point. So with this one, I can also raise the center column. This is called the center column. And I can also raise it. There's a little gear to crank it up like that. So at its maximum height, it's actually about this tall. But it's a little bit wobbly at this height, so you have to kind of turn this knob to make it stable. And then this part is just for panning, and also for tilt, pan, and also I guess rotate. So this one actually has the full motion, has control over the full motion. Some of the less expensive ones, do not have this particular motion. You cannot tilt the camera, I guess left and right. Are there any questions about the tripod? Yes.
How much was that?
I cannot remember. They don't make this one anymore. It's a Valborn, but the brand names mean really nothing because they make the brand name is Valborn for this one, and they make very inexpensive ones to very cheap ones. So I can't remember how much I paid for this one. This is a 347 GB. That's the model number. 347 GB. Oh, they still sell it at Amazon. This is just the tripod quick release platform. And the tripod quick release platform allows me to do this. This is already screwed into the base of a camera. So it allows me to do something like this. I just slide it in and push it down. Oops. And then turn the lever. All right, it's not working. guess I shouldn't have raised the column this high because I can't see it. All right, let's turn the column back down. All right, much better. I can see it at least. Okay, so you just snap it on. Oh, I see why. It's supposed to be like this first, and then I slide it on, and then just press the lever. I don't need a little coin to tighten up the tripod. To quick release, you just turn the lever like that, and then you can have your camera back. So it's a lot quicker than having to screw and unscrew like a conventional tripod. So a quick release is really handy if you need that flexibility. If you can afford the time to tighten up and untighten every single time, it's not a big deal. If you like landscape photography where things are really slow and you don't really need to take the camera out of the tripod in a hurry, the quick release feature is not as valuable. You also have to make sure that your tripod matches the weight of your camera. I would not use this with a single lens reflex camera with a larger lens. With the kit lens, the like tiny little lens that comes with the camera, it is okay. It's not stable, but it's okay. But for anything heavier than that, I would use a different tripod. It's not worth it. Okay, let's say you have an $800 camera and you're trying to save money on a tripod and ended up having the tripod to topple over, destroying your $800 camera. It's just not worth it. Just go get a more solid and a heavier duty tripod for a heavier camera. So right here we see I think this might be the replacement for that. I'm not sure. I think it looks like a similar type of tripod. It's a little bit expensive. This one is $130 with free shipping. But I think I have had this for a long time. This guy doesn't have any plastic components, so that means it's going to be very durable. It's not going to break easily. And as a result, when some other people, well, it does have some plastic parts, like this collar here is plastic, and some of these things are plastic too, but not at this portion here. The joints, where it is really important to have strength, it is actually metallic. So it's going to last a long time. Okay, let's go back to our class here.
Before,
Go ahead.
if you had the more expensive camera and you wanted a better tripod, is it the width at the bottom that stabilizes it?
It's also the weight of the tripod itself. This one is really light.
Okay.
This one weighs, I would say about 2.5 pounds or something like that. So when your camera is heavy and is at the top,
Okay.
your center of gravity is actually shifted from the bottom to the top. So that means if you just push it a little bit, then the center of gravity will go over the line,
Okay.
and it will start to topple.
Okay.
On the other hand, if your tripod is heavy, it takes a lot more to do this.
Okay.
But then you have to carry a heavier tripod too. So it's kind of like a trade-off. But if you have a heavier camera, you don't want to use a light
Right,
tripod.
okay.
For other types of tripod you can consider, one really nice brand that I use is called Bogen, B-O-G-E-N. And Bogen makes all kinds of different tripods. They make tripods from the $100 range or sub $100 range all the way up to who knows how much money they would charge. So what you want to do is to look at these tripods. When you evaluate a tripod, there are several things you have to evaluate. Now this is kind of expensive because this is only including the tripod. It doesn't even have a head on it, which means you can select your own head. This portion is called the head of a tripod. Some people like this kind of conventional tripod head. This is called a pan tilt shift pan and swivel tripod head. It's also called a three-way tripod head. Now this tripod has some really unique features, like you can do something like this. Let me give you a bigger picture. This configuration allows the tripod to get very close to the ground, and you can see the tripod head will be mounted here. So it's really perfect for taking pictures of flowers, maybe, anything that's close to the ground, you know, for special effects and stuff like that. So this tripod can do all that stuff. But it's definitely not one of the less expensive tripods. But it gives you the flexibility to use it in, you know, a number of configurations. With Bogan, this is my tripod for many years, since, you know, a long time ago. It's a very basic tripod, you know, even though it's not, you know, it doesn't seem to be inexpensive. It's a very basic tripod. And if you look at how heavy it is, it's 11, okay, that's the maximum load. Let me see how, the tripod itself is 5 pounds. The head is probably a pound or two, so you have a whole setup of 7 pounds. It's like a gallon of milk. That's 8 pounds already. And you mount a, you know, SLR on it. I can tell you this tripod is really solid. I mean, you know, unless you have a really big lens, you know, it's going to be good enough for most single lens reflex cameras. You can also buy, you know, the head differently. This is called a ball head, and let me take a closer picture of a ball head. A ball head that looks like this is different from this kind of head. This one allows you to, you know, loosen it, and you can just turn it in one way and turn it the other way. And this one is kind of nice because it only has one single control. With a ball head, what you do is you release it using this big knob here, and the whole thing can go in any direction you want it. The kind of people who like this type of ball head would be wedding photographers and also nature photographers, because they just need, you know, quick adjustments. It doesn't have to be precise, and this, you know, allows you exactly the quick adjustments that those types of photographers require. This knob here is called what we call a pre-tension knob. In other words, it can put a constant tension onto the ball itself, so that, you know, even when you quote unquote release it using the big knob, if you have a bigger lens at the front, it doesn't just go like this. Okay, it has a pre-tension, so you can still turn it, but it won't drop the lens, and that's what the pre-tension is for. If you have a bigger and heavier lens, you need a stronger pre-tension. But if you have a smaller lens, you can lighten it up, so it's easier to kind of change, to compose your picture without having to, like, you know, struggle with the whole thing. Ball heads, you know, can be expensive, can be, you know, reasonably priced. This one is considered, you know, fairly reasonably priced, $68, $67 basically. Because if you go for the really expensive one is called Arcoswiz, and those are like expensive, man. $410 just for the head. And you look at it, you go like, wow, you know, why would anyone, you know, spend so much money on a ball head? I have used this before. You know, it is smooth like silk. You know, you set the pre-tension and it's really smooth. And what is interesting about this ball head is the ball itself is actually not a ball. It's actually not symmetric. So what it does is, you know, at about level, it has very little tension. So when you set a pre-tension, you can still turn it side to side pretty easily. But when you have a heavier lens, as it tips over, the shape of the ball prevents, you know, increases the tension automatically as it tips forward. So it's a nice, you know, safety feature if you have a larger lens, you know, for wildlife photography. So that's why, you know, this one is a little bit more expensive. It's the precision of the grinding and also the material they use, you know, many other factors. So anyway, it's just a little quick introduction to the use of tripods. Any other questions related to tripods, tripod heads, tripod legs? Yep.
I also see people use those, they're just a stick, it's like it's almost holds the...
It's called a monopod.
I didn't realize how heavy those cameras were until I actually held one. So the stick is just basically to stabilize the lens?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just to support the lens so that you can use your other hand to stabilize the camera itself.
Okay.
Instead of having the hand hold everything, you know, the stick helps to support the heavier part. So now you don't have, you know, as much to struggle with.
Is that actually attached to the lens?
Yeah, they do. I can show you, you know, it's called a monopod. I don't use a monopod for what I do, but when you look at a monopod, Yeah, these are for shooting, like firearm rifles. But if you look at okay, let's take a look at this one, and let me see if I can enlarge it. Not too much. But it's basically the same thing, except instead of a tripod at the bottom, it has a single stick. And you can see at the top, this one also has a ball head, a miniature ball head. So this way, you just, set it up, and then you hold the column. You cannot just let it stand because it won't stand by itself. So you still need one hand to hold on to the top part of the monopod, and then your other hand can be used, to adjust the camera settings.
Just kind of makes you more mobile.
It makes you a lot more mobile, yeah. It's far more mobile, and if you are taking pictures, where it is crowded, this only requires like a single point on the ground to set up, whereas a tripod, even a small one like this, takes up quite a bit of space.
Like a camera cane.
Yeah, camera cane. Some of these can also double as walking sticks, or some walking sticks also have a tripod mount on it. So, when you're hiking in nature, you can use it as a walking stick. And when you want to take a picture, you just change the top and expose the thread, so you can thread in your camera and use it for photography purposes. So there are walking sticks that can also double as a monopod. This one is not designed to double, but you can see there's a little loop. So the loop, you strap it through your wrist, and then you hold on to it like this. I can actually emulate how to use a monopod using a tripod. So you just hold on to it like this, and then the other hand will use the camera like this. Any questions about this one? That's a good question. A monopod is an interesting device, and it helps. It helps a lot too. What I have not seen is a bipod for photography. So we have seen a monopod, we have seen a tripod. What I have not seen is a bipod. Now bipods are actually very popular with people who shoot rifles. Okay, because what it does is it's just a bipod, and then you mount the gun, and then you shoot it like this. But it cannot tilt this way. It can only shift this way. So for hunting or for rifle uses, it really helps to stabilize the gun. I have not seen anything like that for photography, which is really odd, because this is really funny. I know it's kind of off topic. I'll show you guys this thing here, mirror blind. Okay. I'm not sure whether this shows it or not. It's a hunting gear, or it's a gear for hunting. I'm trying ghost blind. That's it. Okay, there we go. So you'll probably say, well, Tack, what are you doing? This is a multimedia capturing and publishing class. Why are we talking about hunting? There are certain things about hunting that is close or related to photography. Nature photographers. Okay, and this one here is basically a mirror, and the mirror is angled, so it reflects the surrounding of the mirror to whoever or whatever is looking this way. So you can kind of blend yourself. It's a camouflage type of thing. And it uses mirrors, so you can see the guy is standing here, but he's using the rock. This one is using the grassy area, so you can't really see the person behind it until the person pops his head up. And photographers, who like to take pictures of wildlife and stuff like that, they have the same problem as hunters. They want to get as close to the animals as possible, and that's why you can see nature photographers also having a similar setup. And just and in this case, a monopod would be helpful too, because it's a lot easier to set up behind the blind, and more maneuverable. And also when a buffalo sees you and decides to charge you, you can pick up your stuff and run a little bit faster than with a tripod. So it's just interesting. I went to the B&H website to find other stuff, and I found this one. It's like, wow, it's for hunting, but well, you can also use it for taking pictures. They even sell stocks, like a rifle stock, for taking pictures. Has anyone seen that kind of thing?
No.
No? Okay. You can just go to Google and look for that. You know, it's like a rifle stock, but for cameras. So let's see. Rifle stock camera mount. You can see this one here. Do you see how, you know, it has the bottom part looks like a little rifle, a little carbon, but the top, you know, is a camera. It's a long lens, and that's because photographers, especially when you use a long lens, it has the same problems as shooting. How do you stabilize, especially when you need to shoot, quote unquote offhand, and that's one of the systems that people have used, is to copy gun stock. And they even make it so fancy that the trigger here is actually a shutter release cable that goes all the way to the camera's own shutter release. So this way you don't have to operate the camera like this when holding a rifle stock like this. It's completely the same as holding a rifle, because the trigger is actually connected mechanically to the shutter release on the camera itself. But these days, I would not suggest, using this type of thing, because I think this picture was taken in probably the 50s, where people look at this as a novelty and go like, wow, that's a cool setup. These days, I don't know. I think the cops will show in 2 minutes, and you can explain all you want, but this is just a camera. No, on the ground right now, right? Because we are just so kind of sensitized to anything that shapes like a gun. So so these days I would not recommend it, but it was a good idea. It was actually a pretty good idea. And also these names, photo sniper, probably is not a good idea these days. Yep, time has changed. All right, so let's go back and take a look at our new homework assignment. So this is new, shopping for a camera is a new homework assignment. It's nothing really hard, and I think I set up the time limit to something. But I can take a preview of it. All it does is to ask you for questions. Let's say let's say we're pretending that you're shopping for a camera. Just answer a few questions. There's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of participating and doing it. There's no right answer or wrong answer. You just have to answer these questionnaire questions, and that's it. Okay. So for people who are actually looking for a new camera, you can use it as a kind of helping guide. If you're not, just go ahead and answer some questions. Turn it in, and that's the end of it. But we do have 2 new homework assignments, and they are kind of important. Okay. So the 2 new homework assignments, which I will show you how to do it today, is to 1, set up your Shutterfly account, and 2, set up your YouTube account, because I will use it to verify that you do have the content that you need for the other parts of this project. Okay, so and besides, I think it's really cool to have your own Shutterfly account and your website, and also your YouTube channel, so that you can publish both still pictures as well as video content on the web. Yep.
I set up a YouTube account under a name that's not technically my name. It's my computer handle that I already use for gaming.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
That's okay, as long as you can share content with me, because I know with the class project you may not want the rest of the world to see it, but as long as you can share that with me so I can use it for grading purposes, it's all good. All right. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do it. Let me double check that I am recording this with voice. It is. So what you need to do, I'll do Shutterfly first. So what you need to do is to go to the Shutterfly website, which is just shutterfly.com. And Shutterfly has been around for a long time. I still remember those days when I had film cameras. In fact, yesterday I went through my stuff with my son, and I found my 35 millimeter bulk loader. Does anyone know what is a bulk loader for the old 35 millimeter film? No? I was taking so many pictures where it is really costly that I have to go to the shop to buy those 35 millimeter film canisters, small canisters. So what I did was I bought film in bulk, like 100 feet or 100 yards, and I have a bulk loader to load it into the smaller cassettes that you put into cameras. and I found it and I go like, wow. And I look at the price tag and also the invoice. It dated all the way back to '96. So the film was not good anymore, but it's just kind of interesting. All right, so this is Shutterfly.com, and what we are doing here is we can sign up for an account. So what we want to do first is to become a new member. So you just have to enter your name and your first name and last name. It doesn't have to be your actual ones, but I don't think my first name and last name is any big secrets anymore because I teach, right? Now the email part is important, so you want to make sure that you use a particular email address that you can remember, and then we set up the password. And you might want to read terms and condition. Basically, a part of the terms and condition is to say that you cannot upload any content that you don't have a copyright on. So you cannot just take a picture of somebody else's artwork, upload it, and make big prints of it. Okay, so you might want to click that link and read it before you click it. So we'll go ahead and click this one here. And the last click here, or the last check mark, you can unclick if you don't want these ads. My wife is also using Shutterfly, and she uses a lot of time on Shutterfly because they keep sending you these deals like 20% off, blah 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 blah, or $5 off, blah 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 blah. So you keep making coffee mugs, prints, photo books, and all the other products that Shutterfly offers. So if you want to turn off the last check mark, that's perfectly fine, and I'll just leave it on. Then click become a member. Oh, okay, my password is too long. I cannot remember the last time that happened. All right, so how's that? Okay. Now I become a member of Shutterfly, which automatically gives me an account. Now, for this particular project, I don't need you to set up a website just yet. If you want to go ahead and set up a website, that's cool, but you don't have to. What I do want you to do is to set up an album so that I can see pictures that you have uploaded. Okay. So what we're going to do is to do exactly that. We have recent albums, projects, shared pictures, and so on. So we'll go ahead and use the albums first. Okay, the albums are really useful because you can select pictures from the album when you have a website, when you create a website. Okay, so when you click, okay, let me just go back and show you what I clicked. I just click, view all albums, and then it shows me this page, which is kind of like your Windows Explorer showing you all the files in the system. You can do many things here. For instance, we can create a new folder. If you want to create a new folder, you can just say new folder. If you want to create a new album, you can create a new album. I think we can share by albums, so I'll just create a new album here, and I'll just say shared with tag, and it allows you to specify it is going to be an album inside where. So I'll just say it's an album inside my album, so it's a sub-album, if you will. It is now created, and you can see now we have a new album. When you have a new album, you can look at this little down arrow here. When you click it, it gives you all the options of what you can do with this album. You can view, rename, move to, copy to, and also delete. So what we'll do is we'll click it here. And now I can upload pictures to this album.
How many pictures can you upload to the?
It's basically unlimited.
Okay.
It's basically unlimited. Many schools or many classes, like elementary classes and middle school classes, they actually use Shutterfly to organize like field trip pictures and all the different events. Because in the end, somebody will want to order some prints, and Shutterfly makes money out of the prints.
Okay.
So you can upload any number of pictures. I don't know whether I have some pictures ready for upload. So what I'll do.
That's if I have an existing account, right, that we can use that?
Yeah, you can use an existing account if you already have one. Yep. So what I'll do is I'm going to take some pictures right now and then use that as an example. Yep, go ahead.
Can you upload pictures that another photographer took?
If you, okay, I think the terms and conditions said that you have to have the copyright of everything. So if you're licensed or if you have the agreement that it is okay, then it's okay. So it's kind of the same type of deal, same type of licensing, limitations as with YouTube. If it's your content, definitely it's okay. But if somebody else owns the license and you don't have the license to do it, you probably don't want to do it.
So a picture of me that somebody took?
Yeah, if it's somebody else that took the picture, but that person says, yeah, it's okay, you can have the picture, and use it, for your purposes, then it's okay. Yeah, but I would definitely have it, have the license agreement written, just to be sure that you are staying on the safe side.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yes, sir.
Actually, there's
Professor,
supposed to
can
have a
you
license
take
if they
pictures
take
from
a
your,
picture.
Facebook account and bring it over here?
Did you know that?
You can take pictures from your Facebook account and put it over here.
If somebody takes
My
a
question
picture
is,
and
can you
they use it,
download pictures, at
they
their
have to have
original
a license to
resolution
use it.
from Facebook?
They turn out pretty good.
They turn out pretty good? Okay.
I would think
Yep.
so.
They have this, on the Shutterfly, they have this thing where you can download your,
Picture
Instagram
of
images,
that
print your Instagram
That
images.
when you can see her
on
camera.
Those
Say
are all
again?
yours.
They have this thing where you can put your Instagram images on here, so if anybody has Instagram on their phone, and you take pictures with it, you could put it on there too.
Yep. Yep.
I think
Those
Facebook,
are all
they
your
can do
pictures.
Facebook too,
Yep.
but Instagram's more
You
powerful.
don't have to worry about.
Yeah, Shutterfly allows you to order prints, and that's what it's for.
Not
Ordering
important.
prints. Okay,
Those
so
are
I'm
your
gonna take a
prints.
picture of the class, and just make that real quick. It's on. Oh, I just turned it on. Alright. I'm just gonna take a picture. Alright. And then the bad part about the quick release mount here is when it's on, I can't get to the memory card. I have to get rid of it first. That's why there's a little key here, because it makes it easier to take it off. Whoops. My batteries.
Falling apart.
Yeah, they're double A batteries, so I think at this part of the screen recording there will be. Just make sure it doesn't break your speakers. Okay, I need another memory stick. So these things come in really handy, because this computer does not come with a flash card reader. So this is what I have to use, is to put my memory card into a little USB card reader and then put it into one of the USB ports, which is the last one on the front. I have 4 USB devices running at this point. Okay, so this part depends on, so I can do an upload and choose my files. And in this case, my files are over here under DCIM. Hey, no pictures. All right, let's double check. I do have pictures here, but it won't let me select. Okay, show all files. Okay, there we go. So the file that the picture that I just took was this one. Open it. And now we can upload it to shared with TAC here. And then click start.
Is there a
Go ahead.
size that you can't go over as far as the pictures you?
I have uploaded huge pictures and it's still okay. So I do not think they put a size limit on it. The reason why they don't want to put a size limit is because you can order 20 by 30 prints or poster size prints from Shutterfly. So when you want 20 by 30 poster size prints, your original picture has to be pretty good.
Pretty good size.
So easily a few megabytes, up to even 10, 20 megabytes should not be a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have a picture here, and the next thing I want to do is to share my albums. So I want to go to the album part, and okay, this is organized. All right, I just need to figure out, oh, right there, share. So you can click share, and it can now, you have two ways to share pictures. I guess we have to use a site to share pictures, so there's no way to share just the album, unfortunately. Okay. Or you can email the selected pictures. So this is a one-time email to share the selected pictures with others. Let me try that first. Let me select it and then click share and use the email feature and see what kind of email I get. Oh, okay, so they're sharing individual pictures or links to individual pictures. It's good enough for this homework assignment, so we'll do it this way. Does everybody understand what you have to do? Upload the pictures. Go to the album where you have uploaded the pictures. So in this case, it's this one. Go ahead.
So it doesn't matter whichever topic you want?
It's probably best if it is related to your project because you have to upload those anyway. So I would, if you already have content for your project, I would just upload, the pictures, the content for your project, and share those pictures with me, because I will have to kind of take a look at those pictures and decide, what you should do with it. So we'll go ahead and select this one. So the process is to select the picture, click share, and then click next. So what you want to do is to use my email address for school. So make sure you use this particular email address. It's in the homework assignment already, so you don't have to write it down. It's auyeunt@arc.losrios.edu. You don't really have to change the rest, and then click send. Now I do need to know who you are, okay? Because if I see a shared picture from Jojo, and there's no person like Joseph in the class, and and the email came from Jojo, I have no idea who sent it and who should get a grade. So what you need to do is to identify who you are in this class when you send this email. In other words, just right here and say from your name. Just use your last name. I think using your last name and first name for your class is fine. So I will just say here from tag Aoyoung, which is myself, and then click send. And now I can go to my email account and see if I get it.
Now we can share an entire photo album with you, right? Versus just.
I don't know. This particular mechanism only shares individual pictures. If you want to share the entire album, I think you have to set up a site first, which we'll do also. Yep. But let me log in first and see if I can see that picture. So we go to welcome to Shutterfly. Okay, that's just the welcome message. Okay, that's just the welcome message from before. Okay, let me email these again. I can use my other account, I suppose. Still not getting it. It might take a while, I guess. So I don't know how long it will take, before I actually get the message, but it sounds like, I should be getting an email message at some point. So we'll just kind of wait a little bit before, I check again. Are there any questions about this process? How to share individual pictures with another person. Now this is kind of cool because you can basically have the entire album to yourself, so other people cannot see your entire album. But if you only have a few pictures, to share with those other people, you can just share individual pictures. So it's good for that purpose. But if you have like 150 pictures that you want to share, this would not be a very viable option to do that. But for this homework assignment, this is already sufficient, so that's okay. The next thing we want to do is to set up a YouTube account, and for that, okay, I know, I can log out from here. Sign out first. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to set up a YouTube account or set up a YouTube channel so that you can also post video content. Okay, now that's really kind of cool because you can post just about anything. And if you don't want to share your content with other people, YouTube allows you to specify your content cannot be viewed by other people except for people that you want to share it with. So the next thing we want to do is to go to YouTube. And if you already have a YouTube account or a Google account, you can just go ahead and log in. But I'm assuming that some of you may not have a Google account, so we'll start with signing up for an account first. So what you need to do is to go to google.com, and then you just go ahead and try to sign in. If you don't have an account, you can go to create an account for free. And after that, you just have to input some information. So first name, last name, and we want to select a username for Gmail. It's I can just use my name concatenated like this, because my first name and last name are fairly unique. So I'm pretty sure nobody has Tech Onion already used up. But if you have a fairly common last name and first name, you might need to change that a little bit. Use a password. Oh, interesting. Someone already has that name. It could be myself. Signing up for an account that I have forgotten. I just put a dot here. Also, somebody has that account too. Wow.
You've obviously done this more than once.
Said
you've obviously done this more than once.
Nope.
No?
I have not done this before. I have other Gmail accounts, but not this one. Okay, how about I put my middle name in it too. Interesting. That's interesting.
Put an underscore.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I can always just append some random digits here. Wow. It's almost like reserving a website name. Most are gone already.
So if we have a Gmail account already, just try to open up for
Yeah, if you already have a Gmail account, you can just use that. Once you sign into your Gmail account, you will also be able to access your YouTube account because they're shared.
Okay,
Google
what
owns
about
YouTube.
our email? What about our email?
iMail doesn't help in this case. Unfortunately, it doesn't help. Okay, I know. My student number, that should be okay. Yep, go ahead.
Is that what we can subscribe to?
Subscribing me is not going to help with your homework, but it does help if you want to find my screen recording. So you can go ahead and subscribe me, that's cool. Okay, so I have a little bit of a problem here. Let me try this one. Okay, so my student ID works. I'm not sure whether you guys feel comfortable using your student ID as your Gmail account. Yeah, this one is just kind of pick some random numbers. Use somebody else's birthday is fine. Doesn't have to be yours.
Gmail, you just go to the, top and say, and click on YouTube?
Yeah. Yep. I'll finish this first. Your current email address. Okay. Prove that you're not a robot. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's NINDEP here. Agree. Next step. All right. Okay, so I have just created my Gmail account and signed into my Gmail account. So right after that, you can go to YouTube, which is already on the tab here. So go to YouTube, and you can then sign in again. Now, when you click sign in, it will give you the same login screen as in Gmail because the two are linked. So now we can just use the same password. And now I have signed into YouTube as well. And I'm already done. I have my own channel at this point already. So there's no need to set up your channel explicitly because it's already set up.
It says now you're signed in to YouTube, reload page.
I don't even have to reload. As soon as I sign in, this is what I see.
That's not what I see.
That's not. You have a Gmail account already. Yep, you signed in. That's fine. Let's see, your name is up here. Yep, you're fine. Yep, you don't have to reload. This is fine. Yep. Okay, you might see something different because if you already have a YouTube or Gmail account before, you may see videos or they may promote different things to you depending on your browse history. So you may not see exactly what I'm seeing here because this is a brand new account and they don't know what kind of video I like to watch. Okay, so what we need to do next is to upload something. And unfortunately, there's nothing to upload right now, so I'm going to use my camera and take some actual video footage to upload for this purpose. Now, when you upload, if you already have content for your project, you can upload that content, as long as it is less than, I think, 15 minutes or 10 minutes, it should be fine. How many people have more than 15 minutes of video content to upload for your project? You have, how long of a content do you
I don't
have?
have it with me now. Was I supposed to bring it with me?
No, but when you upload, YouTube may give you a limitation of how much video content you can upload in one shot. So you might need to limit it to like I think it's 10 or 15 minutes. Sorry?
You said at least 15 minutes or more?
I think it depends on your account. You might have a limitation of only up to 15 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna take some video here.
Can you do audio? It's an audio recording.
I don't think YouTube will take audio only. But you can use a camera and just take something and upload it.
But it's part of the project, though. It's her voice note.
Okay.
It's the sound of her voice on her voice note.
I don't think YouTube can take that. So the voice has to be mixed in with video for it to be published on YouTube. So let me just kind of do a quick video recording here. And I can also kind of show you guys, how much I can zoom in with this lens here. All right, so we're done. I have 20 seconds of video to upload. All right. So to upload, content is really easy. You just go to upload, which is, you can see my mouse pointer all the way to the top, and it will check. No, okay, when I upload, it wants to ask me for my username and channel. So we'll go ahead and set up a username and channel. What? Sorry? I just clicked upload here. Yep. And because I have not set up a channel yet, it asked me for that. So I'm just going to use my, name here. Same as my account name. Username available. Very good. Click next. So that will actually become my channel name too. Share these actions in my channel. Now you might want to think twice before you let it, just select everything automatically. The first one basically says, if you like a particular video, it will also be shared with other people, who have, who access your channel. If you favorite the video, other people can also see, what you favorite. If you subscribe to a channel, other people can also see what you're subscribing. For privacy control, I would just turn all of these off, because you can always turn them on later if you need it. So I would turn everything off, click all done, and now I'm ready to upload. So I can now select file from my camera. Now if you have a webcam and you have a compatible operating system, you can actually record it as it goes. So that's pretty easy to do. Yep. From a different location. So maybe you have signed in your account from home. It's already signed in. So this is just a warning and say that, hey, we're signing into your account from 2 different places. But if you have a good reason, my home computer is signed in already, and now I'm signing in again in the class, you can just go ahead and click this case. Or you can just click just uncheck these and click OK, I'm ready to upload. Alright, so let me go ahead and select my file. I go back to my flash drive, and I think it's still under the same folder. Oh, this is Gloria. She was dressing up as Steve Jobs. That's our Halloween, special thingy. Is everybody, all the professors were trying to dress up as Steve Jobs. My video is right here, and I click open. And as soon as you upload a file, it allows you to change the title, because obviously this file name is not very indicative of the content. So I'll just say 20 seconds in cisa141. You can select a category. You can say auto and vehicles and so on. I'll just pick education here. Privacy setting. Now this is important. The privacy settings allow you to pick one of these 3 different settings. The first one, public, means everyone who go to YouTube, whether they have an account or not, can see your video. Okay, so if you have something that you want to use to, let's say, promote a product or promote a service, something that you want the rest of the world to see, that would be a good option. The second one is unlisted. Now unlisted is different because if people just go to YouTube and start browsing, looking for keywords and stuff like that, they cannot find your video. On the other hand, if you send somebody else the direct link of this video, that person will be able to see the content. Okay, and that's what I want you to use for your homework assignment. Is to set the video to unlisted, and then you send me the URL to your video. Is that okay? Does everybody understand what that means?
Yes.
Okay. But I do want to talk about the last one too. Now, when it is private, it means you can send individual invitation to your video to individuals. But those individuals must have YouTube accounts already. So that's the limitation. If you have a cousin that you want to send a video to, but that cousin doesn't have a YouTube account, the last option doesn't work with that cousin until your cousin gets a YouTube account. Okay, so you can change this later, but I'll just pick unlisted here, and then you can just click save changes. It's automatically saved, and you can also see that the whole thing is done. And this is the URL. Okay, after the entire thing is uploaded, this is the URL. You can click it. Okay, so let me click it to go to the actual link. and you can just basically send me this link or post this link in the homework assignment. The homework assignment has an editor box, so all you have to do is to copy and paste that link or the URL to your homework assignment. Any questions about this homework assignment? Yep. Well, you don't have anything to upload at this point.
So we can't get that.
You cannot complete it because we don't have any files to upload. But if you did, then you click this and you select a file to upload, and you do everything that I did earlier. You had a question?
You want us to upload that video and send it to you?
Yeah, you want to send the URL to me, what I have highlighted on the screen right here. Okay, let me show what I mean by that. So this part I need you to send me. Okay. Any other questions about this homework assignment? Now, if you have video content, for your project, I would just upload that and send that link to me, so I can actually see, what type of raw material you have for your project. Any questions about this? No questions? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
It's about the photo project. Are you going to give us an example or talk about it in more detail later on?
Yes. Yes, but first I need you guys to upload your content so I can at least confirm that you have the raw material for your multimedia project. And then we'll talk about the software tools and other things. So that's why I need to set this up first, and then we'll talk about the tools, and then we'll talk about how I want you to process your material before you post it. All right, so this part is done. Those are your 2 homework assignments. I wrote this, digitizing tablets a little bit earlier, last night. And it's really, it has to be here because it is a part of the curriculum, which means I have to cover this topic. A digitizing tablet looks like a little sheet of plastic, and you use a stylus, which is basically, it looks like a pen, to use it, to draw things on the tablet. It allows you to use it like a canvas, okay? So you can paint and sketch and do all sorts of other artwork on it. So this basically has a bottom line here. I can skip all the way to the bottom here. What is kind of interesting is people are using iPads and other tablet devices to replace those things. And what I'll do is to go to this particular website. It's really, really cool because it really sums up where things are going. Let me go to, they have a video content here too, so let's go to this part here. All right. I don't have an iPad. There are moments in my life that I thought maybe I'll buy an Apple product, and then I think maybe not. But this is what it allows you to do. It allows you to work on these software. If you scroll down here, it shows you what type of software supports this particular stylus. How many people have a tablet or a smartphone or something like that? Okay. All right. The problem with using a smartphone, which I have, as a tablet, well, other than the size, there's another problem. It's not very pressure sensitive. Okay, you can press hard or you can just barely touch it. Even though the phone can actually see the contact area, because when you press harder, you have a larger contact area. When you just barely touch it, you have a smaller contact area. It can actually tell it. Okay, it can actually tell what is the contact area. It doesn't change enough, depending on the pressure. And that's why with these phones, it doesn't give you the same type of pressure sensitivity as what this kind of pen, which has more sensitivity. When you're drawing something, or when you're using a paintbrush tool or an airbrush tool, the pressure sensitive part can really be helpful because it really is equivalent to controlling the airflow or the air velocity of an airbrush, or how hard you're pressing on a brush when you use an actual brush. And that's why there are devices like this. It's a USB device. When you look at this pen here, it's a USB device. It has a pressure sensitive tip. It communicates through Bluetooth back to the tablet so that the tablet knows how hard you're pressing on the pen. So now you can use, like an airbrush tool and have full sensitivity of, the actual pressure. There are different tools, on the iPad. Since I don't have an iPad, I can't really show you. But this Sketchbook Express is also available for Android, and you can see what people have done with, Sketchbook Express. It's a free app. It's, you don't have to pay for it. And it does a fairly good job with, different types of artwork. This is what people have done with this type of software. You can sketch, paint, you can have, airbrush effect and stuff like that. So this is where things are going. Instead of buying digitizing tablets, which are fairly costly to begin with, most people are now using their iPad or other tablet devices to serve the same purpose. And it makes sense. It really makes sense to use, a normal tablet and just turn it into a digitizing tablet using an external USB device, not USB, Bluetooth device. Any questions about this part? No questions? Okay. And I will briefly go over the other types of input devices, a scanner. We talked about digital cameras already. What you just saw, digitizing tablet, is what other people call, graphics pads, but it's actually called a digitizing tablet. That's the actual name of the device. Scanner, we'll talk about that later, because I want to move ahead and start to talk about the tools. You guys have the content already, so what are we going to do with the content? These are the tools, and all of these are either open source or free. So we want to talk about these things as quickly as possible. We have another 15 minutes today, so that's good because we can at least get into it. Each one is not a very big topic. Each one is really just a small topic. I just want to introduce the tools. The GIMP is basically a photo editor type of software. If you ever need to edit a photo in many different ways, the GIMP probably has the right tool to do it. Can someone name certain common things that you might want to do to photographs? Crop, okay. The GIMP can definitely crop. In fact, Shutterfly can do it too. Okay, if you upload pictures before you order a print, you can actually crop the picture before you order the print.
Put edges on it? Put edges on it?
You can put edges on it. You use at Shutterfly.
A border?
Yeah, you can put a border.
Can't you also do the contrast and brightness and all
Yep.
that?
You can adjust contrast,
The
brightness.
clarity and the pixels.
Yep, you can sharpen. Okay, you can
So
sharpen the image.
It's kind of like Photoshop?
It is kind of like Photoshop, except it's free.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's say I already have the latest Photoshop, and I just use that, or do I need to-
Absolutely. If you already have Photoshop and you know how to use it, hey, by all means, use Photoshop or any other products that you have used already that can serve the same purpose. Yep. Airbrush. Go ahead.
Can it resample?
Resample. Yes, it can downsample. Upsample doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you can basically reduce the resolution of a picture. Is that what you mean?
Like how you stretch the picture, like you can use resample to put more pixels in a picture.
You cannot make more pixels because the amount of information is already fixed. So what you are when you're resampling, you're usually reducing the number of pixels instead of increasing the number of pixels, because there's no way you can add information to a photograph that's already taken. So by increasing the number of pixels, you're actually making it more fuzzy because you're not gaining any new information in the process. The GIMP can do a lot of different things. I would suggest that you go to the GIMP website or go to YouTube and see what other people have done with the GIMP. So that's one. We'll go and move on to the next one because I really want to just go over all the different tools that are available. The next one is called Inkscape. Inkscape is a free hand drawing program. So if you want to create your own artwork, like a company logo or something along that line, Inkscape is perfect for that purpose. You can also use Inkscape to start with a photograph, and you can add annotations and other stuff on the picture. So you can integrate a picture into a free hand drawing program to add your own annotation. If you want to share a map with somebody else and highlight where you are on the map, you can use Google Maps, take a screenshot, and then use Inkscape to add your own annotation, and then re-export it as a bitmap and then send that out to somebody else. Okay. And then the next one is called MuseScore. Now this is where we get into the music content or the audio content. This I think is really, really cool. I'll just go to the website to show you what I'm talking about here. This is the program, and it's available for Windows as well as Linux. And let me see if I can see a bigger screen. Okay, it has videos to show you how it's used. But basically, you can, as soon as you install the software, it comes with some music scores already, some music already. But you can also use it to download additional ones. I think I have it installed here. So I just go to multimedia, go to, oh, I guess it's under, I don't have it. Okay, let me see if I can. I don't have it installed on this system. I will have to install it. But basically, it allows you to download scores that other people have converted. Do you think Bach's music, Bach as in the Baroque period Bach? Do you think his music is do you need a license from Bach to use his music now?
No.
No. So if someone has entered the score of that music, you can use it. And this software is mostly intended for people to create music scores, but you can also see music scores that other people have created and use that. And you can use it to export the WAV files, and then later on you can integrate the WAV files into your video content to add a layer of music to your video content. So this is free, it's a free resource. The software itself is free, but more importantly, it allows you access to free music too. Okay. So this is really a good resource. And the other one is also good. MuseScore has mostly classical music. In other words, you have access to a lot of the classic composers or people who have entered the classic music from classic composers. If you are more into like new age or Eurobeat type of music, LMMS. Okay, that's interesting. It's not available. I will have to check on this one. But this one, is also the same thing. It comes with some music that you can also use for free. This is an open source video editor. We'll get to that part later because that one requires Linux to run it. But I do want to talk about what they call the Creative Commons license. The Creative Commons copyright licenses and tools forge a balance between traditional all rights reserved setting that copyright law creates, and also what do you want to do when you want to share the content or use content that are already created by other people. So what you want to do is to go back here. 3 layers of licenses. Okay, there are different types of licenses. When you encounter something that has a Creative Commons license, it's one of these ones. But for the most part, you can utilize the content, incorporate the music into your own work, okay? Which is great for your project because now you don't have to worry, oh, but if I use this music or this particular soundtrack, will I get into trouble of copyright? With this type of licensing, most of the time you do not get into any trouble. They do have variants of this, okay? Because when you look closely, okay, attribution, this license allows others to distribute, remix, tweak, and build upon your work. In other words, you are releasing your work for other people to build upon. This one has no derives or no derivatives. This license allows for redistribution, commercial and non-commercial, as long as it passed along unchanged and in whole, with credit to you. So you being the content creator in this case. So basically, if someone picks this particular license, you can use the content, okay, without having to pay the other person, the creator, but you are not allowed to change it. So if you get a score, you have to use the entire score. You cannot remix it and put up your own version. Attribution non-commercial, share alike. This license allows other people to remix, tweak, and build as long as it is non-commercial. And for class project like this, it is definitely non-commercial. So we are fine with that. We'll just go ahead and take a quick look at the other ones. Attribution share alike. This license allows others to remix, tweak, and build upon your work, even for commercial purposes. So it's even more general than the one we talked about a little bit earlier. Attribution non-commercial. This license allows others to remix, tweak, and build upon your work non-commercially, and although their new work must also acknowledge you and be non-commercial, they don't have to license their derivative work on the same terms, which is kind of nice because you can turn your work to be non Creative Commons. This license, the last one, is attribution non-commercial no derivatives, is the most restrictive of the 6, only allowing others to download your work and share them with others as long as they credit you. Well, but even this one is going to be sufficient for our purposes, because all we want is to get the soundtrack from somebody and integrate it into our video. As long as you're not remixing it, changing it, and claiming that you created the content, even the most restrictive version will do it. So this is nice. So what you need to do is to find content or music that falls into this category of licensing. Are there any questions about this?
Where do you find the licensing from it? On a specific item?
I would instead of going to a content and then see how it's licensed, you can also use a search engine and just look for content that's already under that license. So you can look for Creative Commons licensed music or video or whatever. And this will give you resources. That's just a blog. I would just use the search engine to help you locate the resources. But as I said, if you use those two software that I mentioned, one is called MuseScore. Okay, let me just get back to that point. If you use MuseScore or LMMS, both of these have music that you can use already. I might have LMMS installed here. Let me see. Nope, doesn't look like it. Yep, I do. Okay. So this is LMMS. It's a little bit more complex to set up. How many people have dealt with like a studio recording type of situation? Okay. This is basically a mixer, and plus also a sequencer. It's really good for electronic music, and it comes with a selection of music already pre-built. So if you go to project and go to open, and okay, I cannot remember how to get to the sample projects. Go to most recently, import, export. It is supposed to come with some projects already created by other people, and you can just kind of play with it. I don't have the other one installed. The MuseScore one is not installed yet. So I'll have to install that one and show you guys what you can do. Both of these you can install in Windows. So if you are curious, go ahead and install both of these programs and play with it at home. But for today, until Wednesday, your homework assignment is just to sign up and set up your Shutterfly and YouTube accounts and post content and send me the links.
And the cameras do as well. And the shopping for the cameras do as well.
And the shopping for the camera. That one is just a questionnaire, so it's literally just, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, so I'll
Is there a
see you
sheet
guys.
to sign our name?
I forgot to bring it today, so you guys are fine.
We're free, we're free.
Yep. All right. So did you get any content from the?
I did.
All right. Excellent. So you can post some of that online.
I will try to do that.
Share
I
that
have
with
never
me.
done that before, but I will try to do that.
Oh, well, you can do it. It's